So we already use AI in our engineering development. So that's already been happening. I think in terms of how we can expose these types of technology for consumer-related features, we're absolutely thinking about that. And the two obvious places will be the conversational, AI experience that, for example, Strava is doing. And I think that's going to be table stakes for many products. It's not going to be something, so innovative. We have to offer it. And I think the other opportunity for us and others is just using machine learning to figure out exactly what to offer in terms of content and when and with whom. That I think is the next innovation.
That's more like an Instagram timeline approach, where it serves you what you think you
want. Yes. And I think it can factor into your usage behavior, who your friends are, when what kind of events you like, what kind of fitness you have today, and we can serve up the right content at the right time. I think that is innovation that no one has really produced yet, but that's an exciting opportunity for us.
What about AI and coaching? I ask because I think about myself. My world revolves around me, and the thing that I miss about college is having a coach. And I was part of a running club, but it was just too much. So I'm sort of making up my own training plans. I could see a lot of value in having an AI coach be able to see your stats, see what you're doing, and suggest workouts.
Let's face it, if you can afford it, you'd rather have a human coach.
Right.
Because they will motivate you more than any tool that you have in front of you. But I think the two pieces that I just mentioned to you, which is a conversation about how you did with your workout, and then the AI to tell you exactly what you should recommend next. Those two pieces should, in theory, represent a replacement for an expensive coach. And that, I think, is a solution for, the 95% of the customer base. The 5% should and we'll continue to invest in human coaches.
$200 to $250, $300 a month,
or more,
by the way,
enough
for a coach. Yeah,
I can't.
For a coach that you've never met and just puts workouts in Zwift and training.
Also, I'm not going to the Olympics.
You did go to the Olympics, though.
I did. I didn't compete at the Olympics. I'm devastated to say. It feels like a steep bill for my ambitions.
Eric, I'm wondering about competition here because you guys were pretty much the only game in town for a while, with what you did at least. Copy Trainer was around before, but just this week, Training Peaks bought IndieVelo, and now they have Training Peaks Virtual. I remember before I joined Strava, I used Training Peaks, and I quit Training Peaks during the pandemic to go to Zwift, not Strava. How are you thinking about competition right now?
Well, we have a lot of competition. It's not surprising, and we've had it all along. I think the Training Peaks and IndieVelo makes absolute sense for Training Peaks. We are partners with many different training platforms that are out there. We launched something called the Training API, and we've onboarded multiple training apps. So we'll continue to be a platform where coaches and these coaching apps can push activities and activities on where you can actually do the event on Zwift. So that won't change. It'll be really, and I don't know the strategy behind Training Peaks and what they'll do with IndieVelo, but it doesn't really change what we need to focus on. And our focus is really to do everything to continue to add value and features for our community. That's really the important asset that we have.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the future. This is something I love to ask private companies. Are you thinking about IPOing? Would you be open to either acquiring a business or being acquired? What are you thinking about along those lines?
I think we should always look at opportunities to acquire, merge. Those are opportunities that we should be looking at all the time. In terms of what is our end goal in terms of like a liquidity event, I think that just will take some time, but I think we all have aspirations of being a publicly listed company. Whether that happens, in 3 years or 5 years, I don't know. Whether we do that alone or we do it with others, these are all, I think, things time will only tell and how that unfolds. But absolutely, our board, my co-founders, my management team, and investors have big aspirations for this business. So that hasn't changed. It's just timing is everything, right?
I mentioned that you raised more than $600 million since inception. Last time you and I spoke, you said you didn't need to raise money in the near future.
Yeah.
How's the cash balance looking right now?
We're very fortunate. We didn't spend all that capital, so we have a pretty strong balance sheet. I don't think we need to raise any more capital. That's helpful, and that gives us
Ever.
Ever.